Alderman Stratt. Alderman Devine.
Here.
Alderwoman Miller.
Here.
Please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Under God? That's still in there, isn't it? Oh.
All right, at this time, I'm going to open up for public comment. There is a few that had signed up for giving public comment. I would like to remind you that there's 3 minutes maximum for this. If you could please state your name and address for public record once you step up to the podium in the center of the room. Thomas Rockman.
Hi.
How you doing, sir?
Hi, Frank, I voted for you.
Well, thank you.
Should I start?
Go ahead.
Is there a stopwatch?
I got you.
You good. Go ahead.
My name is Tom Hoffman. I'm a U.S. Air.
Sorry.
You're good. You don't have to talk into it. You're good. Just talk like
This
this.
is my first thing like this.
No, you're fine.
My name is Thomas Rockman Jr. I'm a U.S. Air Force veteran. I live at Pearl Street Commons, and I have a few things to talk about. First of all, I have anxiety disorder, so I requested reasonable accommodations, and I was promised that, and then I was denied. Pearl Street Commons is a great place for families, for single people, and for veterans who do not have mental health issues. But for, I noticed a lot of you are on the play card that's next to the office, and I just wanted to state that living there has been very difficult for me. I've suffered from panic attacks, extreme panic attacks. I've gone to the hospital 4 times. The insulation is very thin, the walls are very thin, the floors are very thin compared to other places where I've lived. So it's just been really difficult. And currently I am being terrorized by an individual in the building who has terrorized my other neighbors, who had filed 3 false police reports against them last year. And now he has his eyes set on me, and he's bringing me to court for things that he made up. So he has called the police 5 times, and in 36 hours, and it was all made up. Yeah, they spent $7 million. Full Circle Community spent $7 million on this property. They spent $19 million on a one in Elgin and $30 million on a historical preservation remodeling in 5150 Northwest Highway. So I just wanted to express that I have been very depressed, very despondent, and at times suicidal, which I'm not suicidal now, but I just feel like the police are being played by this individual, and that the current property management team is not taking any of this seriously. And it just seems like the perpetrators are the victims, and the victims are the perpetrators. So that's really all I have to say, except that it would be nice to have a sidewalk. Sidewalk.
31.
It would be nice by the car dealership.
Yeah, 31 bus forward.
Because I walk all over the place.
Sure.
And I don't know, I'm not really sure what else to say. So Pearl Street Commons, it's a fine place for most people, but for people like me with PTSD, I have anxiety disorder. Any veterans with PTSD and anxiety disorder, it's not so good. So that's, I just wanted to share that information with you.
Okay. Is this phone number that you left on here a good number for you?
Yes, and I'm trying to get to Western Florida. I'm taking steps to leave.
Sure.
It's just been really difficult.
Sure. Why don't I reach out to you tomorrow personally, okay?
But the thing that I'm concerned about the most right now is that there are some people, maybe 3 people, that shouldn't even be there because they're dysfunctional mental illness is it's just so intense that you can't even communicate with them.
Well, we have a good relationship, and Doug, you know, maybe we can reach out too, but why don't I reach out to you tomorrow, and we can have a conversation, and I'll do anything I can in my power to help in any way.
I know what I wanted to say. I really like McHenry. The people here are very nice, respectful, and friendly, and if the property taxes weren't so high, I might even buy a house here.
Yeah, we're all with you on that one.
So I didn't want to give you the impression that
Sure.
I really love McHenry, and I love the people here. It's just I'm having issues with one person and the management right now.
I'll reach out to you tomorrow.
I
Chief, if you can.
I didn't
get
want
some input tomorrow.
to, you know, shove all my garbage onto you. You guys have more important things to
No,
deal with.
everything's important. I appreciate you coming out.
Okay.
All right?
Sorry.
No, you're good. Thanks, Tom.
Don't forget your drink. Don't forget your drink.
This is the first time I've
You did a great job.
Yeah, right.
Better than my first time, so good job.
I might run in Sarasota, Florida.
Thanks, Thomas.
No, thank you.
All right, Philip Hofstetter?
I did.
My name is Philip Hofstetter. I live at 1309 North Green Street, Henry, Illinois. I'm here tonight because I don't like how the city is going in many directions. The first thing I'd like to do is ask for Ross' resignation for many things. He has left the door open, unoccupied, building behind my garage. The door was kicked in over a year ago. There's police reports on it, and he ignored it until I got Frank involved, and he contacted him, and I contacted Ross, and we had to get it done. I've contacted Ross for many other things. Another thing is, he let the mayor, you, push the snow from your parking lot over to the bank, old bank parking lot. Another time, as taxpayers, this really irritates us, is you hired a company, Dirty Towing, I believe. They pushed the snow out into the street after the city had cleaned it, obstructing traffic. There was almost 2 head-on accidents as I was watching. 3 o'clock in the morning, the next morning, city workers are out there pushing the snow out on the Pearl Street, down Pearl Street, and into the lot behind me, which is the door that was kicked in. I mean, the mayor has put up gutters on his building because they got damaged from the garbage guy without a permit. I mean, the garbage dumpster at his building is supposed to be in an enclosure. That was part of the agreement. It's not an enclosure. You keep moving it with a forklift where you leave it out. I've asked Ross many times to take care of it, because you leave it open and it blows all the garbage out in the street sometimes. You can shake your head. You know you're wrong, Mr. Mayor. The mayor has, the garbage company, we had a deal with Big Sandy, and he talked to you about it. You live in it's a C4 zoning. Garbage trucks aren't exempt as emergency vehicles, so therefore 7 o'clock is when you're supposed to, can't have vehicles show up. They're there at 4:30 or 5:30 in the morning. Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have pictures.
I'm not gonna argue with you. It's at 7:15, they're there.
No, they're not. If you want, I'll have my
No,
friend
you
that's
should
living with
keep
me.
going, because
Go ahead.
you're limited time.
You're
You should
limited
keep
time.
rolling.
That's right. Next door, I had a call because they were doing things that they shouldn't at Giannis, the McHenry Dental. And it's kind of like it's washed under the table right now. The bicycles are riding up and down the sidewalks. I've gotten hit twice in front of my place. and nothing ever gets done about it. It just, you know, if you look at the town itself, how much vacancy there is, and this is before COVID. This is going way back. I'm talking 10 years. I've been here since 1960. I think it's time, the city's gotta start building up. DC Cobb had to change his name. Karsten had to change it. So he covers up DC. How long does it take to get a liquor license? A month. Why is he serving alcohol?
He's not.
He was.
No, don't do that because your time's out next week. You gotta finish up.
The other one is, there's been rumors that I've been hearing about Frank McClatchy from people, and I just want to clear the air. If they're true, Frank, I think you should need to resign.
Well, what do you?
Wait.
No, this is not.
Do not do that. You're out of time, so either finish up or you gotta come back at another meeting.
I'll come back to another.
Attorney
meeting.
McCarroll, excuse me, but the mayor runs the meeting, okay?
The mayor's the
Let's-
object of the comment, that's why I'm doing it. If you were the object, I wouldn't know, let you do it either, because you shouldn't. That's why I intervened, that's the only reason I intervened. If you want the mayor to get into it with him, I'm sure he will.
We're not supposed to have a discussion back and forth.
I understand, I'm trying to stop that, that's why I did it.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, moving on, is there any other public comment? See none? Moving on to the consent agenda, items 5A through 5G. Is there any items for separate consideration by council? Alderman Glad?
Yeah, I don't want to make it a separate consideration. I just want to make a comment on city council meetings, minutes. If you take a look at the minutes, we have comments about public input to where we just mentioned a few people that had comments against the item that was up for discussion. And the only thing I'm getting at is that we make people sign in as far as, and describe, they have to give their name and for the record and everything else, but yet in the record we're not. And we do have a problem as far as, if you go on YouTube, you can't hardly hear any discussion whatsoever at the city council meetings. One or two people you can hear and that's it. And that's why my mic's further down so that people can hear what we're having to say. We need to look at the sound maybe a little there, because that's the only records that we have, is what's written and what's on YouTube. So all I'm saying is that we need to just be a little bit more detailed as far as, people come out from their homes to the council meetings to make their comments, and the fact that they should be recorded of who it was that made the comments and what they had to say, in a short
Yeah,
sentence.
I do try to put the names in there respectfully, but I'm also not a reporter, so I can't really put word for word, but I do try to list the names and not allow, am I
Right.
allowed to say that? I don't know.
Like I said,
Yeah, I'll
just
try
so we
hard.
can recognize the
Yeah.
citizens that do come
Yeah,
out
I mean,
to make their comments.
I agree. Okay.
Oh, Monty, okay.
Sorry.
You want to take the blame?
I will. Tricia wasn't here at the last meeting.
Okay.
So I took the notes and I wrote the minutes.
Okay.
And the people that spoke didn't sign in, and I couldn't understand, like you said, I couldn't understand their names, so I didn't want to fumble them and, have the wrong name in there. So I just put like the citizen said, they didn't sign in, I couldn't understand them, so I didn't want to guess at what their names were.
So why don't we change the way, if they're gonna speak, they actually physically gotta sign in again, even if they didn't sign in, because sometimes they sign in if they're gonna speak, but then they all of a sudden change their mind and they wanna speak. We don't have them on this sheet, so why don't we make sure that they sign in, even if they're gonna, so we'll make sure we change that.
Just have everybody
And
sign.
could we look at the sound too, so that,
I'm all over it.
You go.
All right, chief.
Tomorrow at 9.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Any other, separate consideration regarding items 5A through 5G? I'm looking for a motion to approve 5A through 5G. Alderman Glad?
So moved.
Second? Alderman McClatchy? Discussion on these items? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Glad?
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy?
Yes.
Sorry. Alderman Santi?
Yes.
Alderman Devine?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miller? Yes.
Did we go through everyone already? Well, that's all right. Item 6A and B is pulled from the agenda this evening due to awaiting background check. It still has not gotten back yet, so we'll put that on the next next agenda for that. Item 6D is a discussion to approve, or a motion to approve an amendment to the fiscal year 21-22 Information Technology Fund budget in the amount of $81,762, and to authorize the execution of agreement for cybersecurity upgrade software and services with ThinkGuard LLC in the amount of $98,862. At this time, look for a motion and a second. Alderman Sandy?
Which one's trying to catch up here?
For
Yeah,
6C.
6C, right, I'll
Yep.
make the motion, for 6C approving the amendments, for IT, fund budget in the amount of $81,762, authorize execution of the final agreements on the cybersecurity upgrade software and services from ThinkGuard LLC in a total amount of $98,862.
Thank you. A second? Alderman Miller?
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. Discussion by council? Alderman Glau?
Yeah, I just had a question as far as, now this is for a 3-year service, right? And what happens after the 3 years?
You'd have to renew the contract, some of the technology will probably change, it changes that fast. But it's the farthest out they'll give a deal as far as an agreement for this type of security. So traditionally, just like you see with any contract, you're gonna see some inflation that goes on it probably. So, you know, as the years go on, 3% on additional years, but the exact dollar amount I wouldn't know.
And I know there's a few changes that have to be, or additions that have to go in with the software or whatever for this technology and all that. That's all broken down real nicely for us. Appreciate that, but, so they've looked at our system, and they're pretty assured that, what we see here is what we're gonna need for the next 3 years, and,
Yeah, so what we did, just in a little bit of history, we changed IT managers a few years back. And when we did that, as a procedural matter, we brought an independent source in to examine our infrastructure, our IT-related security on our email servers and everything else the city has. And that provided us our roadmap on where we wanted to move to. Although we did get a good grade, we'll say, we do have improvements to make. Plus, every 12 months, we have this revolving threat that changes. You know, one day the top threat can be a phishing email, the next day it could be something totally different. So we came up with a plan on how we wanted to phase in the upgrades. And so primarily what we're talking about tonight is we're talking about a dual authentication, not just on all of our regular servers and our logins, but also on our emails. So that way, we don't have issues with somebody that sends a phishing email that you might click on something and might actually give up your username and password, because it won't be any good unless you have the second level of authentication, which is a revolving, changing token or number, so to say, that's only good for a one-time login. And so once you use that number disappears and it's no good. So even if you do have a risk, it provides the next layer of protection for the city to have any unlawful access into any of their networks whatsoever.
I know when I first looked at the dollar amount, I go, oh, the cows for a 3-year contract, and then, you know, the breakdown and everything was nice, because
Yeah.
then you see where a lot of that money's going to.
Correct.
And, yeah, that is a lot of money, but then again, it doesn't just protect the city, it protects all the users out there that come to the city. I mean, how many times you see companies that, get tapped and, all of a sudden, everybody's personal, information is spread out, and then we get all these bogus everything, you know, so, I'm glad to see that we're keeping up with this.
Alderman Clay?
With this contract, do they come out on a monthly basis?
They actually assist us in the monitoring in real time. So that there's a layer inside this particular contract that, as well as us, our IT people getting notified if there's any risk that comes in, they actually get notified too, and they have staff that reviews it in conjunction with our staff to make sure that nothing's missed. It's like the next layer up of basically customer service support on it.
Okay. Just last question, is there a lot of security firms give a guarantee, or, you know, if something happens, we'll back you up, or, you know, either monetary or what? I didn't see that.
No, I don't think I haven't seen any contract that's gonna provide monetary. The city keeps separate insurance for that.
Okay.
If there was a breach or a risk on any of our systems, we keep a separate policy.
makes sense.
This is quite frankly, this is the leading company right now that provides this type of security for what it is that we do.
Any other questions, comments by council? See none? Open up for public input on this item? See none? Last discussion, just to make sure everyone's good. Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Santi,
Yes.
Alderwoman Miller,
Yes.
Alderman Devine,
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy.
Yes.
Alderman Glad.
Yes.
Thank you, council. Next item on the agenda is, staff reports. Is there any updated staff reports this evening?
The only thing I have is, kind of relates to the last issue that we just dealt with. I know that, probably a month or a couple months ago, the IT department sent out some information to council and staff, so we're not singling out council, some, required, training on phishing and cybersecurity. And so, just a reminder to go back and look at your emails and complete that training. Literally, it only takes about 20 minutes. It's a couple videos to watch, and then some questions to answer on it. And there's really no wrong answers to it. They just kind of guide you along the process to help you out. So please go on and take a look at those. If you don't have it or can't find it, then let me know, and I'll send the email back out to you, the information back out to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Any others? Nothing? All right, I have nothing this evening. City council comments. Looking for a motion and a second to adjourn.
Make that
Santi. Alderman Santi?
I'll make that motion.
And then Alderman McClatchy for a second. Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Santi,
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy,
Yes.
Alderman Glad,
Yes.
Alderman Devine,
Yes.
Alderwoman Miller.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Put your monitors off for me, I'd appreciate it, for the right hand.